go over with her just to kind of give her, the way my mind works, I like to organize my ideas and thoughts so I can be prepared when I go in the field. So this is a really light training on insurance. And I'm going to do this really quick so we can get out of here. But I think that for a newer agent, this is going to be very valuable for you guys in terms of what you're going to potentially see out there and how to organize your thoughts, how to place your knowledge in certain boxes and know when to kind of pull out different things. So when you go into the field and when you're talking about life insurance, there's only so many scenarios that you are going to encounter. So you want to get good at overcoming any scenario that you encounter, and that way you are going to close a lot of people. And when I say that, it's not just so you can make money, it's better for them. Because of the type of company we're in and the products that we offer, if we make a sale, we're taking someone from an inferior situation to a superior situation. People have inferior life insurance. So, Stephanie, the one that we encounter a lot is no insurance. People don't have any insurance. So what do I do when someone doesn't have any insurance? One of the best questions that you can ask if someone doesn't have insurance is, usually there's 3 reasons why a responsible family like yourself does not have life insurance. Now, we are assuming that there is some insurable interest. The reason I don't want to do a financial presentation on your college buddy is because there's no insurable interest on that person. Right. Does that make sense? Yeah. I'm not interested in saying words to thin air. We can pretend in the office and do that. What I want to talk to someone with insurable interest, and then we can make a sale potentially and help this person. So usually when a responsible family like yourself doesn't have life insurance is due to one of 3 reasons. Anybody can learn this. You didn't think you needed it. You didn't think you could afford it. Or you never got around to it. So Stephanie, you can be hanging out with people and just casually bring it up, and then they say they don't have it, and then you say, well, you guys are really responsible, and usually when people don't have it, it's one of 3 reasons. They didn't think they needed it, they didn't think they could afford it, or they just never got around to it. Now, a very salesy question after that is, which best describes you? Okay? You can modify that.
How would you modify with the least amount of resistance?
It depends on who I'm talking to.
Okay. Well, if it's a 40-year-old mom in South Riding, Virginia.
You could use what best describes you for that. Okay? Which applies to. So you didn't think you could need. So before I learned this, I would be very accusatory because I was young and immature and inexperienced. And so if I see someone with 2 kids and they don't have life insurance, I'm automatically assuming wow, that's irresponsible in my mind, right? And then now, because I think that, I'm coming across that way. So what this allows me to do is pinpoint the objection that needs to be overcome. Because if they say, hey, I never got around to it, which, by the way, is the answer that you want, then what can we do? We can get around to it, no problem. Great, let's get around to it.
Right.
If they say that they don't need it, now you have to have an arsenal of questions that you can ask them to get them to a point to where they feel like they need it. They're not going to buy because you think they need it. They got to think that they needed it. So what would I say if I sat down with your parents and your dad's like, I didn't think I needed it. Okay. Let me ask you this. If something happened to you tomorrow morning, your dad, if I asked your dad, if something happened to you tomorrow morning, like you're up in heaven, would your family be able to maintain the exact same standard of living? Now, 99.9% of the time, the answer should be no. Sometimes they say yes. Oh, okay. So, you know, you're a project manager. I'm assuming you make about $100,000 a year. So that's $8,000 a month. Like, your wife, your spouse, and the kids will be able to suffice on their own with $8,000 a month for the next 10 years. That means you have about $1 million saved.
Mm-hmm.
Because the reason why people don't think that they need it is because of this really stupid thing that people think in their head and then actually say, even smart people, which is, well, I don't plan on dying. Well, neither did the person in the car accident or one that got cancer or the one that, you know, whatever. Usually it's not planned. Right? So what this question does, if something happened to you tomorrow morning, would your family be able to maintain exactly the way that they are right now? An intelligent person would say, probably not. Okay, so can you see why you need it? Because they're thinking like, hey, if I die when I'm 80, my family's, right, in the ideal situation. But what's the unideal situation? If you die tomorrow. That's what we're buying insurance for. We're not buying insurance for if you die at a normal life expectancy. We're buying insurance in case you don't make it that long. Now, if someone has millions of dollars sitting around, then they are what? Self-insured. They don't need life insurance, and I respect that, and I understand it. Now, if you have millions of dollars, what's another 100 a month for another million? Right. Then we get into that conversation, right? Then what is it? Why not? Why not just add another million? Plenty of wealthy people have life insurance because it's not cost prohibitive,
right,
especially ours. 100, 200, what's that to you? You won't even notice that coming out of your account. It adds another million. Right. Okay? So they didn't think they needed it. We know the question there. We didn't think that we could afford it. That's the one I don't really like to hear because, again, I'm looking for clients that are, you know, I want to keep my retention high. And I know we're Primerica, and I know that, you know, I want to have a talk with a couple of you guys. Some of you guys have been here for a long time, or some of you guys are young. And my agents will call me, and I'll be like, you did a $100 a month policy on that person? Like, I'm looking at the app, they make $3,000 a month. And I know, like, in your world, that might, I don't know how people survive in this area on $3,000 a month. Mm-hmm. Middle class is maybe different than some people think. Right? Sometimes I put up that chart and I'm like, what does it take to live in this area? And it's about like $150,000 combined income. That's middle class. That's average. Okay? I'm not going to go on and on about this, but just think about that. So, I didn't think I could afford it. Most people, this is my response, most people think insurance is way more than it actually is. We have policies that range from, you know, $20 all the way up to whatever someone is willing to pay. So if we can find something that you feel fits within your budget, is that something that you would take into consideration? Because what? Sheila's client before her sat down with someone and they said, oh yeah, we have life insurance, $500 on you, $500 on your wife. They're thinking it's $1,000 a month. That's why they think they can't afford it. But Sheila's policy is only going to be $150, so now it's affordable. So a lot of times when people think that they how do you even know? You don't know how much it costs.
Right.
And if a whole life agent quoted you $1,000 a month, I can understand that. So that's the only time that, like, when they say that, but outside of that, I get a little nervous about this one. Most people in Primerica don't get nervous. They take the app on anybody. I try to have a little discernment with the clients. Mm-hmm. Right? Here's another way to look at this. There's a very big difference between someone saying, Samir, man, I got 2 kids. I can squeeze out like 40 a month. Man, can we make something work for that? Of course we can. There's a difference between that and, dude, you got 2 kids. You're not willing to spend $40? Come on, right, man, you should do it. I don't know, man. Da, da, da. Now I'm convincing you to spend $40 a month on insurance. Very different $40 a month policy. You guys with me? Yes. So it's not that I am like, I'm putting down people. I used to be in that situation. I understand all those things, but I want someone who wants it. In that situation, they better really want it. And then the next one is, I never got around to it. Awesome. Let's get around to it. Something happening, how much would your family need every month in your absence? Oh, $6,000 a month? Okay, well, we use the 10 times rule. $6,000 a month times 12 is $72,000 a year times 10. That's about $720,000 of coverage. You know, are you looking for something like 50 to 100, 100 to 150, 150 plus? Like, kind of where do you want to fit this in? Yeah, I'm good with this. Boom. Is that hard? Can you learn that?
Yep.
You will literally make 500 plus a client for a 5-second conversation.
Right.
So that's one situation, no insurance. Now here's the weird thing about our business when you're someone new, so you go talk to 5 people, you want to set appointments and like, they all have insurance. Here's the thing about no insurance. No insurance is, like I said, they have never had it, I'm going to be the first time. It's a better situation, even better when they already have it and they switch to you because they've showed what? They can afford it, they believe in it, and they're going to pay for it. So whereas you're thinking, oh man, everyone I know already has insurance, I'd rather sit with that client than the one that doesn't. I'm going to sit with all of them. I'm just giving you an idea. So don't be discouraged by people already having insurance. When they already have it, guess what? What are the chances they have it from the right company, the right amount, for the right amount of years, for the right price, with the right features, the right type? Very low probability. So when they have insurance, you say, awesome, that's going to be an even better training for me because we can compare and contrast. Are you guys good for Wednesday or Thursday?
Mm-hmm.
So when they say they have insurance, you got to get excited. That's going to be better training for you. And it gives us a pretty good opportunity as well. Now, what's another situation is when they actually have insurance, and the insurance that they have is group insurance. So if you guys are studying, that's insurance through your job, through your company. To me, this is an easy one. Oh, okay, you have group. Let me ask you something, Quincia. If you found a better job, better pay, better commute, more advancement opportunities, would you take that job?
Yeah.
Okay. And what would happen to the insurance that you have right now through Google, Amazon? What would happen to that insurance?
It's gonna stop.
It's going to stop.
I can't go with it.
It's going to stop. Okay, so can you see why we don't really count that towards your plan? You with me? Right away, they admitted what? If I leave, right, I can't take it with me, and you just admitted that you would leave if you found something better. We would all leave in a job situation. So that's the question right there. Then there's some nuances with the group insurance as well. The big one is long-term illness. So, I know it's a little sensitive topic, Sheila, but with your brother-in-law, with Bing's brother, he had a pretty good job, right? And how long was he able to work while with brain cancer? Right. When it was diagnosed, he wasn't like, oh, let me go to work for another. No. You cannot work. So then he leaves the job. If he had group insurance, he's leaving the group insurance. Now he's not protected under the job anymore. So it's a good thing what? Sheila gave him private insurance. So long-term illness. Mr. and Mrs. Client, not all death is sudden. Sometimes we have clients that got lung cancer, various cancers, various injuries, aneurysms, and they're not able to stay at the job. Now, if you're on bed rest and you're that sick and you're not able to come to work, what happens to your job? You lose it. It's just like a reality, right? So now you have this long-term illness, you have to leave the job, and then you pass away. Are you going to be able to collect the insurance from when you were employed? No. So the problem with group life insurance is that you have to be a part of the group. If you leave the group, yeah, that's a good one, right? You have to be a part of the group. If you leave the group, you're not covered. That includes when you are on an inactive pay status or inactive status. What's an example, Sheila, of inactive?
If they, let's say they need surgery and they have to be off for like 2 months, 3 months.
What do they call that?
It's a leave of absence.
Right? So FMLA.
Yeah.
What about maternity leave?
Maternity.
Maternity, paternity, these are all inactive statuses. Your life insurance from your job are not going to pay out. So the thing about insurance is it's to cover the what ifs. Wow, what if this happened? What if that happened? What if this, right? Group insurance doesn't cover enough of the what ifs. There's too many unanswered questions about whether your family is going to get this payout or not. And if they're still fighting you, one of the things that I say is this really an argument here, man? We're talking about $100 a month. To have all the answers questioned, every question answered, everything covered, 100% probability your family's gonna get the money. Like, you're paying $20 at work, mine is $100. Is it really that big of a deal to just do the right thing? So you guys should be destroying people who only have insurance through their job. When they say they have insurance through their job, you know you made a sale. That's how I want you to think of it. And in this area, that is a lot of people that are relying on their, it's so funny, like people hate their job, but when it comes to their benefits, they're so attached.
Yes.
My 401k, my insurance,
Yes.
Dude, your company doesn't do well with 2 quarters, they're taking your match away. Your 401k is bullshit.
Yeah.
Your benefits are gone. I've seen it happen at Fortune 500 companies. You may run into cash value. This is a common one. This is one that Sheila runs into all the time. So what's the problem there? Well, for $500,000, me and these guys were going over a policy yesterday. Your policy is $420 a month. For $500,000 for us, the policy is going to be $60 a month. Cash value. So what justification is there for you to be paying, what's that, 7 times more? What justification is there for you to pay 7 times more for something? Oh, I get money back. Yeah, well, if you took the other 6 times that you're overpaying and put it somewhere, you'll kind of get that money back too. You can put it under your pillow. You can get under your pillow.
Right.
In a cash value policy, you have $500,000 death benefit. Let's say somehow in some world you accumulate $100,000 in cash value. When you die in a whole life, you're only going to get the $500. Your family won't get the $100. So all that extra premium you were putting in to fund this account, when you die, your family doesn't get it. Why not? So if they're keeping 100 and then paying you 5, they really gave your family 4.
Right.
All I'm saying is, hey, all that extra money, let's invest somewhere else, and then if you die, I'll give your family a check from the insurance company and the investment company. So that way, you're paying for 2 and not just getting 1, you're paying for 2 and you get both. It's not hard. You a numbers guy? You're going to love this, because the math just doesn't work in cash value. I mean, for every one of these scenarios, what are we talking about? A few sentences. And do you run into people who refuse to change their stance? Yeah, we call those people bricks.
Right.
So you're going to run into bricks. I made a mistake. I know it. I don't care. You're not going to change my mind. My family will suffer for it because of my ego. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Nice meeting you. I feel sorry for your family. Why do I feel sorry for your family? Because in order for you to afford life, the whole life policy, you underinsured yourself. Right? What do you mean? I have 500. Yeah, maybe you should have 1.5. I can give you that much for still less. So because of your ego and your decisions, even after someone is running the numbers with you, if and when you die, your family's going to get 1/3 of what they should have gotten.
Right.
right? So you're making the bad decision, but you're not the one who's going to have to pay for it. That's one of the things I say in my community, because like sometimes the Pakistani people, Muslim people, they're like, God will take care of everything. I know, kind of, but like, remember, this is what I say, remember this, when you don't pay, you're forcing someone else to pay. I had an uncle and aunt, you know how we call people, they weren't really my uncle and aunt, but
Yeah.
very close family friends. They both died at the same time. Social Security showed up, they had 3 young kids. They told the brother who lived with them, right? They said, well, we're either gonna take these kids or what do you want us to do? What's the brother gonna say? He said, I'll take the kids. Problem is he already had 3 kids.
Wow.
So yeah, you didn't want to pay, but guess what? Now someone else is forced to pay. All of these power statements, guys, are just accumulated over the years. They're in my back pocket. Don't come at me, because I always got something to pull out of. So, boom. For someone reasonable, you should be able to kill that. And then they have terms. So Stephanie was telling me about a client, right, Richard? You guys had a meeting with them. The person was already looking at terms. So I'll end on this. Look, if you have a good term and it meets all the whatever, I'll leave it alone. You got it 10 years ago. It was very cheap. It's level. The cost is not going to change. I'll leave it alone. Maybe we want to add more. Maybe we want to add ours so you can have something a little bit longer than the original one. But the main thing I'm looking for in a term, other than the obvious things, be a professional. Cost is like whatever, right? Fine, it's cheaper, or it's more expensive. That's one thing. So yes, you can look at cost. I want to see the schedule of premium. I want to see if it has a terminal illness rider. This is things Sheila just went over. I want to see what happens if when you're at the end of your term, is the company going to give you another one, or do they want a medical exam? This is called conversion. But the one I want to talk about right now is this, schedule of premium, and then we'll end. So your policy is cheaper than mine. Okay. Let me look at the schedule of premium. What's that? I'll show you. In the schedule of premium, it'll say for years 1 through 30, your premium will be, $2,000 per year. Let's say it's a big policy. They're paying $166 a month. That's $2,000 per year. So that's what the schedule. Sometimes it'll list out 30 years. Sometimes it'll just say nothing to look at here. 1 through 30. It's a level policy. It's going to be $2,000 a year for the first. But then what it'll do is it'll show you the continuation, right? If the person decides year 31 that they want to keep it, that's what I'm interested in. What's that going to cost? So, okay, my insurance is $2,200 a year, $16 more a month. But year 31, theirs is going to jump to, I'm making this up, $50,000 per year. My 31st year is going to go to $10,000 per year. One is $4,000 a month, one is $800 a month. So now, Mr. and Mrs. Klein, let me put you in a situation. I agree, in 30 years you probably don't need life insurance, but you had paid for it for 30 years. And now you're sick, and the outlook doesn't look great, and your policy is expiring, and you could be staring in the face a $50,000 premium to continue the policy, or a $10,000. That may be the difference between you continuing or not. See, this initial period I call term 1. Yours is cheaper than mine term 1, but I'm going to beat them term 2. So let me give you guys a story here. Lady called me, she's very affluent, she's an attorney. Had a Primerica policy. On her, on her husband. And she was not my client because her policy existed before I was even in the business. But she was referred to me because she heard I was in Primerica. She said, I need help. My husband's policy is expiring and I need to convert it. I said, okay, what's the situation here? Because it was going to be a lot more expensive. And she said, he has dementia. you know, let's take all the sensitivities out of this. I mean, just bottom line, I know it's gonna pay out, and whatever it costs, let's make it happen. So we converted it, and it went from like, let's say 150 a month to, you know, 800 a month, whatever it was, but within 6 months he had passed away, and that entire thing paid out to her, right? So basically at this point here, you can buy that inheritance for your family. But what they do in the cheaper policies sometimes is they make it so cost prohibitive, it's impossible to keep it even if you want it. I've had people with heart attacks in the hospital. We converted them into a new term with no medical exam. And yeah, that one guy's went from 30 to 180. Big deal, 180. His family got 250 within a year. That's another person. Okay? So there's many situations where you guys, you know, no matter what you encounter, making a switch is the right idea when you know what to say and if it's going to help the client get into a better situation. All right. So you guys know about the incentive. You got to hit it hard this month.